Hi, this video is to review writing equations in point-slope form. There are three types of formats for linear equations, and one of them is called slope-intercept form, one of them is called standard form, and one of them that's very handy is called point-slope form. The general format for point-slope form is listed up here in yellow and green, and it reads y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, the x and the y that are in yellow are going to stay as part of the equation. You're going to replace the m with your slope, and you're going to replace the x1 with an actual value from a point, and you're going to replace the y1 with the value, the y value from the same point as this x1. Okay, sometimes you'll end up getting 2 points to start with, and it doesn't matter which one you pick, as long as the x and the y are from the exact same point. All right, so let's get started. It's really not as bad as it might seem here. So I know that my y is going to stay, and I'm going to subtract from it the y value. Well, in this case, my y value is right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label these x1, y1. All right, so I'm going to write y minus, I'll write this part in green, y minus 5 equals, and then my slope. Well, my slope is given to me. It's negative 4/5. Okay, and that's just going to go on the outside of the parentheses, and then the inside, I'm going to write an x, and I'm going to subtract. You've got to be careful here, because if I'm subtracting a negative value, I'm going to go ahead and make it a plus. But because I'm subtracting the x value and it's a 3, I'm just going to write minus 3. And then close parentheses. And you're actually done. It's pretty easy to write an equation in point-slope form if you're just given a slope and a point. And to specifically ask you to write it in any other format, like slope-intercept, this isn't going to work for you, or it could be a first step, and you can convert it to slope-intercept form. But generally, if they just ask you to write an equation given a slope and a point, this works great. Example number 2 really only requires one extra step. Before we can write it in point-slope form, we've got to find the slope. And so I'm just going to go ahead and use the slope formula, which was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or rise over run, or you can think of it as a change in the y's over the change in the x. Let's go ahead and do that. So my y2 is 4 minus my y1, 3, over x2, which is 7, minus negative 1, my first x. Now I'm going to get 4 minus 3, which is 1, over 7. The minus the negative is going to be a plus, so 7 plus 1, or 8. So this is my slope right here. And at this point, I can go ahead and write it. I'm going to fill in the x and y values in a second. Let's do 1/8 times x minus a number. Now, the values that go here can be from either point. You pick. I'm going to go ahead and pick the 7 and the 4 because that looks easier. It's going to be x minus 7 and y minus 4. I could also use the other values, but if I use the negative 1, I'm going to have to remember that is going to be x minus negative 1. I'm going to change it to x plus 1. Okay, so the other option would be y minus 3 equals 1/8 x plus 1. And either one of these would be correct answers.